$15,000 is still a lot of money.
Who you telling?
Anyway, to move on. So I remember some of these things back in 2005. It's not our fault that they didn't leave. It's not our fault they didn't leave. They were asked to leave. They could have left and everything else. So people keep forgetting that some of them did try to leave.
Much of their community was concentrated where they lived. The only way they could possibly evacuate was by walking. And even when they did try this, tried to find safety for their children, their elders, their neighbors, and themselves, they were met with the threat of violence. Thousands of people tried to walk across the Crescent City Connection Bridge to the nearby suburbs. But when they did, they were met by armed police officers who stood on the bridge to force people to turn back. Sometimes, they even fired their weapons over their heads. Elsewhere, at the Danziger Bridge, police officers actually shot and killed 2 unarmed civilians and seriously injured 4 others. All of these factors left many of the poorest residents stranded, at risk of death, and traumatized by their experiences.
And I'm going to come to you first because, like I said, I can see everybody's face. Everybody else can't. I can see everybody's face. Tell me how you feel after hearing that.
I did not know about that, or I did not remember. I was 24 when this happened. I know there's a whole thing of it's not good to swear early in the show. What the fuck, cops? Why weren't you leaving them out?
Following orders.
Why is there not?
The people they work for didn't want those people in their community.
You wasn't there before. We don't want you there now.
The villain always seems to play a certain role, don't they? Good gracious, they come out of central casting. They just always seem to them damn bridges.
Tracy? Oh, y'all forgot. You did say you wasn't saying nothing through this show. But yeah, Anna, they were following orders. And you can say which orders it was from the police, chief police, the mayor, the neighborhood themselves. We do not want you here. We're willing to kill you to make sure that you do not come here. Now we're going to show you that we're serious about killing you because we do not want you here.
Hey, Marlon, draw that comparison to, of course, the natural comparison would be civil rights, right? But also draw that comparison to the southern border with Donald Trump. We will steal your children. We will kill you. We will beat you with whips to send the message, don't come across this bridge. You are not welcome over here with the people who already got stuff. You stay over there, and if you die over there, then you shouldn't have been poor. If you're stuck over there, well, you shouldn't have been poor. America does this.
And that's not even forget about how y'all was, I don't even know how to say this, cattle ranching the Haiti people that was coming over.
Whipping them on horseback.
And oh, by the way, right? Don't let us not forget that we still have some of them that's still missing.
So that's my point. And then I would say, because people always say, this is not about color. It's not about color. Fine, I'm going to tell y'all, not about color. What I would like for you to do then is just take a look at each side of every one of these issues and just draw me a profile of who's on each side.
I'm sorry. Y'all got to be kidding me.
Pick any event. Pick them. I don't care. Pick them.
You decided upon yourselves that the city
one side
wants you so badly. We are willing to kill you to keep you out. And then turn around with the narrative of, well, they should have left sooner.
Yep. At the end of the day, America has a lot of issues, but one of its issues is that we have moralized poverty and wealth. If you have wealth, it is because you are blessed. If you do not have wealth, it is because you are not blessed. Therefore, you are suffering your fate because it is God's will. That's the distortion. It's the complete opposite of what God would say to us, but that is the distortion. So they look at it and they say these poor people are poor because they're poor of spirit, they're poor of work ethic, they're poor of morality, they're poor of whatever it may be, and we don't want that over here because it might be catching. So they will tell you, you need to flee. It is time to evacuate. We're sending buses to get you out. Buses. How many people are you going to get on a bus, first of all? But anyway, at least it was something, and that's good. But you send buses. Where am I going to go? Okay? Right. I live on disability. I live on government assistance. I live on meager wages. I ain't got no money. So even if you take me out of here, I can't get a hotel. I won't even have a car to sleep in. What do I do with my 5-year-old child? What do I do with my 70-year-old parent? What do I do?
With me.
So, and if you're, and this is just a little side thing, but if you're a guy, you are a male, there's no help for you. America is not built to help you.
Hold on.
So
hold that
now
thought.
what?
Hold that thought. That actually is the next video. The resettling.
As the water levels of the Mississippi River and Lake Pontchartrain rose, the streets became even more flooded. There were parts of the city that were flowing with water up to 20 feet deep. And within days, up to 85% of the city was underwater. People were waiting on the roofs of their homes, hoping for rescue. People lost everything they had. Many survivors had to take boats or helicopters to evacuation sites at the Superdome or Convention Center in New Orleans. The Coast Guard rescued 34,000 people, and ordinary citizens organized to provide food and shelter for anybody that they could find. Even still, it's estimated that between 1,000 and 4,000 people lost their lives, most to drowning. It is considered the deadliest hurricane since 1928. Many survivors ended up permanently displaced and moved to cities like Mobile, Alabama, Houston, Texas, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Chicago, Illinois. I have friends and family who left when they evacuated from the storm and then never came back. Over 1 million people across the Gulf Coast were displaced and resettled elsewhere.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you had to flee,
keep happening.
And I'm not even talking about the poorest of the poor. I'm talking about like just working class folk, regardless of your color. If you had to flee and go somewhere else, you can't come back. Can't afford to. Because wherever you ended up, you had to find a job.
But not even that is, but the funny thing about it is, come back to what? You knew what your house looked like. You knew what your
more desolation and poverty.
You could have came back to what? We was barely having enough money to live in a house that was barely livable in. Now it ain't even livable in it. But you want us to come back to what? There was nothing.
And insurance companies weren't paying. Insurance companies weren't paying.
No.
Assuming
And
that you had insurance, insurance wasn't paying because they lost so much money paying for the people who had insurance in the neighborhood and communities outside of the major impact area. So what they would do to you is say, well, you got flood insurance? Oh, well, this was a natural disaster. This wasn't just a storm. This is a disaster. So it doesn't even qualify under the terms of your policy. So we aren't going to be able to pay on that. So all that stuff was going on too.
So basically, wherever you landed, you're starting off fresh, brand new.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody doesn't get caught up just on the race thing because it's too easy to get caught up on the race thing. Race is definitely a major part of it. It's the accelerant on the fire. But it's to me, it is a major indictment of how America treats its own citizens.